All right, convening this morning's hearing on Culture, Arts, and International Affairs of the House. Today is April 12th, 2024. It's a little after 9 o'clock a.m. here, room 309 at the Hawaii State Capitol. First up, we have SCR 1, recognizing the day of the second new moon after the winter solstice of every year as Lunar New Year in the state of Hawaii. First up, we have Angela Melody Young testifying in support.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young testifying in support on behalf of CARES. So I think there was a resolution also very similar to this about the New Year, Chinese New Year. I don't know if it was like aborted or something. But I'm in support of this resolution and the other resolution as well. So this resolution celebrates the 234th anniversary of Asian immigrants migrating to Hawaii because the Asian community loves the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year, celebrated by generational Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and Asian Americans. And it is a celebration of renewing community ties. It is a blessing of prosperity, joy, fortune, and health for the new year. And it is a time to wish for a good, prosperous harvest. So in China, Lunar New Year is a 2-week celebration of feast, parties, and parade. And in Mandarin, we say 恭喜发财, wishing others prosperity and wealth in the new year. So a few things, Chinese culture, and the Lunar New Year culture teaches us its importance of celebrating the difference of the cultures and the diversity of our community and learning to hear what others are saying when others speak a different language than us and not to assume things about cultures or practice of a culture without first getting to know the culture and to honor each other's culture without prejudice or ill will, without preconceived notions, right? So with this resolution, the atmosphere at the congressional delegation level, the Republican and the Democratic relations, they teamed up to work together. And perhaps the atmosphere may shift in their working relationship because the House the House Congressional Delegation introduced resolutions about the Lunar New Year celebration from Congresswoman Grace Mean from New York City. The resolution declared Lunar New Year is a special time in Queens to celebrate also around the world and to hold in high esteem the cultural importance of the Lunar New Year, which is integral to American life. So thank you.
That is all that we have signed up to testify. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to testify on the measure before us? Anyone on Zoom? Seeing none, we're going to move on to SCR 2, urging this body to endorse the participation of Taiwan as an observer in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, International Civil Aviation Organization, World Health Organization, and International Criminal Police Organization, supporting the further progress of the United States-Taiwan initiatives on the 21st century trade, a speedy conclusion to its negotiation, and encouraging the United States Trade Representative to commence negotiation and enter into a bilateral trade agreement with Taiwan, and supporting the state of Hawaii's 31st anniversary of sister state relations with Taiwan, and commemorating the 45th anniversary of the Taiwan Relations Act. It's a lot. But first up, we have DBED in support on Zoom. Okay. We have the Taipei Economic Cultural Office of Honolulu present. And we have another individual in support. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on the measure before us? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair in the committee, Angela Melody Young, testifying in strong support of the international relations. So in support of the Taiwan Relations Act, it declares it to be policy by the United States to preserve friendly commercial culture and other relations within America and Taiwan, as well as with the people of China. And the Taiwan Relations Act declares peace and stability in the international jurisdictions to make sure that political and economical concerns are taken care of in America. And the United States' decision to create diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China rests upon the expectations that the future of Taiwan will be determined by peaceful means. In an effort to create diplomatic ties in Taiwan, America is trying to relieve the tension from the other international jurisdictions. America is in the middle trying to halt and put a stop to the tension between China and Taiwan. And America is urging Taiwan not to do boycotts and embargoes, which are punitive bans that forbids relations and trades with certain groups. It essentially puts a stop to cooperation in international policy, and it is not a diplomatic move. Especially, it is not in the interest of getting economic opportunities for all the international nations. So this is of grave concern to America. When international jurisdictions are not cooperating, it is very concerning because they do not realize the repercussions. And so America is in the middle, trying to halt and put a stop to the tension between China and Taiwan. So America will provide for Taiwan with arms of a defensive character and shall maintain the capacity of the United States to resist force and coercion, which would jeopardize the security and economic system of the people in Taiwan. So for healthy economic prosperity of all international jurisdictions and diplomatic relations, there must be a level of mutual understanding to reaffirm the preservation of human rights for all. Yes.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? Seeing none. Anyone Zoom?
Yes. Aloha, Chair and committee members. This is Dennis Ling testifying on behalf of DBID. DBID stands in its written testimony in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ling. Seeing none. Members, any questions for the audience? Seeing none, we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda, SCR 146, encouraging the state to consider the initiation of a sister state relationship between Hawaii and the Spanish province of the Balearic Islands. First up, we have DBED with comments.
Yes. Aloha, Chair, committee members. Yes, DBID stands in its written testimony offering comments.
Thank you. We do want to note that we have a number of individuals in support. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to testify on the measure before us? Seeing none. Anyone on Zoom? None. Members, any questions to the testifiers? Seeing none. We're going to move on to SCR 147, requesting the state to begin planning to collaborate with partners in Japan to appropriately recognize the 18th anniversary of the end of World War II, including the atomic bombings and the lives lost in Japan and Hawaii throughout the war, and reaffirming a commitment to ensuring these tragedies are never repeated. First up, we have State Foundation on Culture and the Arts.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. Karen Ewald, Executive Director of State Foundation on Culture and the Arts, and we stand on our written testimony with comments. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all that has signed up to testify. Members, any questions? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You want to testify?
Aloha, Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. And so this is to celebrate the...
Support or oppose?
In support of the collaboration of partners in Japan and in America of the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. So America and Japan have very intricate histories. And one nation's story without the other would be missing a remarkable piece of the story to share with the world without the other. So culturally, Japan is very significant to Hawaii, and it was involved in a very famous war. And there was a lot of tension and hostility between the Japanese and the Americans because of the war from the previous generation. So when people from this generation now, hear about the things that happened, it evokes feelings of animosity and trauma. So I am in very strong support of this resolution because of the peace memorial that resulted from the end of the war with the atomic bomb that went to Japan from America after Pearl Harbor. And the memorial, I think, was done by an artist. And the artist, I think, envisions a world with no war and no trauma. And the Peace Memorial is called the Children's Peace Monument. It was to create a vision of a world of peace. And the monument shows a girl holding up a crane, a folded paper crane. And at the base, it is inscripted in Japanese that this is our cry, this is our prayer for building peace in the world. And so, yeah. In strong support of the resolution, also, America and Japan fought against each other in World War II, right? So Japan was Germany's Axis ally. Because of severe natural resource shortages, Japan declared war against America, and the British forces in the Asian countries, the British seized the resources from the Asian countries, and the war was driven by Japan's ambition to displace America as the dominant Pacific power. So Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. So in response, America declared war on Japan, and Germany also declared war on America, and then America declared war against Germany. Although America had hoped to be neutral, but because of Japan, America went into the war to fight with the Axis powers, with the Allies. And the Allies are formally referred to as the United Nations. So Japan is the land of the rising sun, the radiant sun. The Japanese flag is like a red, radiant sun. And it's kind of like a very good symbol of the character of the Japanese words it represents. 日本, which means where the sun rises.
Can you please wrap up your testimony?
Yes. And so, yeah, it's a very interesting historic stories and cultural ties about Hawaii and Japan. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Members, any questions? See, now we're going to recess for decision making. All right, reconvening the House Committee on Culture, Arts, and International Affairs for the purposes of making a decision on the following bills. Again, it's Friday, April 12th, 2024, here in Conference Room 309. First up, we have SCR 1, recognizing the day of the second new moon after the winter solstice of every year as Lunar New Year in the state of Hawaii. We're going to pass this out as an HD1. The purpose is that resos are mostly lasting for 1 year, so we're only going to can recognize the Lunar New Year in 2025. To recognize it as an observed day, it has to be a bill form. So that is the amendment that we're going to change. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair Designee for the vote.
Sure, thank you, Chair. Members voting on SCR 1. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye, as do I. Rep. Capella.
Aye.
And Rep. Sayama.
Aye.
Thank you, Chair. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 2, urging the body to endorse the participation of Taiwan as an observer in the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, International Civil Aviation Organization, World Health Organization, and International Criminal Police Organization, supporting the further progress on the United States-Taiwan Initiative in the 21st Century Trade, a speedy conclusion to its negotiation, and encouraging the United Nations Trade Representative to commence negotiations to enter into a bilateral trade agreement with Taiwan, and supporting the state of Hawaii's 31st anniversary of sister state relations with Taiwan, and commemorating the 45th anniversary of the Taiwan Relations Act. We're going to pass this out as an HD with tech amendments. Members, any questions, comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair Designee for the vote.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Members voting on SCR 2, SD1. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting the excused absences of Vice Chair Martinez, Representatives Matayoshi and Alcos, who will be noted excused for the duration of today's decision-making. Is there anyone voting with reservations or nay? Seeing none, Chair, all present members vote aye. Your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to SCR 146, encouraging the state to consider the initiation of a sister state relationship between Hawaii and the Spanish province of the Balearic Islands. We're going to pass this out as an HD1 with tech amendments, and we're going to change the state to the Hawaii Sister State Committee. So the Hawaii Sister State Committee will consider the initiation rather than just the blanket of a state. Members, any comments or questions? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Members voting on SCR 146, SD1. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Any reservations or nays? Seeing none, Chair, all members present vote aye. Recommendation is adopted.
Moving on to SCR 147, requesting the state to begin planning to collaborate with partners in Japan to appropriately recognize the 18th anniversary of the end of World War II, including the atomic bombs and the lives lost in Japan and Hawaii throughout the war, and reaffirming the commitment to ensuring these tragedies are never repeated. Okay, so we are going to pass this out as an HD 1. We are going to, again, change the title of the state, and instead we're going to request that the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts to create it. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair Designee for the vote.
Okay, members voting on SCR 147. Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting the presence of Vice Chair Martinez. Anyone voting with reservations or nay? All members vote aye. Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. This hearing is adjourned.